Good morning, YouTube. Now in this video today, guys, I'm going to have a chat with you about something which I have lived with for a couple of years, and it's something that you don't. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and it's a very people don't tend to talk about it because it is sort of personal to people, but also I think it's got a lot more sort of, negative connotations. And I know for a fact when I was told I was going to need one and I come out of hospital, I was looking around trying to get information and I couldn't find any, especially to my sort of, situation as in self-employed gardener, stoma. Couldn't find any information. Now obviously my case is not going to be the same as yours or your relative or family member, but I do want to talk about it nonetheless, because what I get quite a lot is that people will say, you won't go back to normal, it's set you back, and they always use terms like you'll get a better quality of life. And well, I think I can see where they're coming from, and I'm not being rude about it at all. I'm grateful that people care, but my sort of thing is, well, with having this, my quality of life hasn't really been affected. It just means I have 10 or 20 minutes extra work a day. That's it. The side effects from it have, so these hernias. So let me just go a bit back in time and tell you what I am blathering about. So 2 years ago, I had a perforated bowel, and I went from being in a, not fit, look at me, but healthy. I've always been healthy, even though I don't feel it. I've always been healthy. I've never ever broken a bone, never been off ill, not seriously. You have shits every now and then, maybe a bit of a cold, but nothing ill. Never go to doctors, And then out of the blue, I basically fell poorly, really poorly. And this isn't a pity party video, it's just to set the scene. And basically, I ended up calling the ambulance because I was in so much pain. They come out and they misdiagnosed, shall I say. So they said I'd got a urine infection, I hadn't. What had actually gone on is my bowel had burst or perforated. And what that means is instead of like your feces going on a nice path out of your body, basically for about a week I was just filling the inside cavity up with shit, basically. Not a nice thought. And I just literally, I think it was about 4 or 5 days, and I was just so ill, but I'd kept taking this medicine, and in the end I had to go to the doctor because I just thought, right, this medicine's not working. So I went to the doctor's and he had a poke and a prod, and he says, right, get straight to A&E. And I was shitting my pants, so I went to A&E. Now, before I get on, this video is going to be of a personal sort of nature, but it's going to be where I hope it will help, because as I said, when I first went through this, I had no information, and that was what was, upsetting me. I couldn't find anything out. So I won't be, unnecessarily gory, but at the same time, you do need to set the scene. So anyway, I was in hospital, and they poked and prodded again, and then next minute there was two, I think at the time, I don't know who they were, but they were surgeons, and poking and prodding, finger up the arse. I don't know why they do that, but quite often I get that when I'm in hospital. And I thought that was going to be the worst part of my day, admittedly. And then they come in and they said, right, they did a CT scan or an MRI, whatever, I can't remember what it was. It was like that one where they put some liquid in, and then he put you in like a big polo mint sort of contraption. And he says, right, we had the results back, you've got a burst bowel, you've got a hole in your bowel, and basically it is filling you up from the inside with your own shit. That's my extrapolation from it, by the way. That didn't actually use them terms, it just said I've got a perforated bowel. And when your world sort of slows down, well, it did, I must admit, and all I heard was operation, stoma, colostomy, and I was like, shit. And I'd never heard, I'd heard of it, but I didn't know what he meant, because it all happened so quickly, and I was like, Jesus Christ. I must admit, it did upset me. I did have a little cry, you know, and so that was it. They rushed me through, and they were preparing me and all that, and my family were there, and it just went where I went to hospital, went into the, you know, anaesthetic place, and I woke up, and unbeknownst to me, I was in intensive care for a few days, and basically what they did is they cut from here down to probably where your belt buckle is, and they just open you up, and they had to fucking wash all out. Not a nice thought. So as I say, I woke up in A&E, and basically it just went on. You know, I was in hospital for a couple of weeks, and they come out and they said, you know, this is the thing that where I was struggling with, and this is why I want to do this video, to help people. And they said to me, well, what do you do for a living, gardener? You might have to give it up. And basically there's no some people said you might have to give it up, because when you're in hospital you see about 1 million people, different nurses, different doctors, and I'll be honest with you, I don't enjoy being in hospital. I just wanted to get out. And then I had the stoma nurse come over, and that's a team who are in the hospital. They'll show you how to change your colostomy bag, how to look after yourself. And to be fair on them, they were really, really good. They were a good department, and they were probably some of the most helpful ladies. They did help me a lot, especially in the early parts. And I think as well, I think it's World Colostomy Day soon, or World Ostomy Day, so maybe it'll fit in with that. And it's not just the physical side. You're very weak, you're very tired, you're in a lot of pain, but it's the mental side. And as I said, you know, I have no, you know, fear admitting this, but it did upset me a lot. So they let me out of hospital, and basically I had this recovery time of I think in all in all it was about 1.5 months. But when you're in hospital, the doctor says to you that as soon as you get out of hospital, you're on like an upward trajectory, and it's true. So if you've got to go through it, you get better quickly. So I remember when I come out of hospital, I could barely walk 50 metres, and then I remember going on a walk, and I made it down to the letterbox, and then next time I made it round to my brother's house, and it was so exhausting. I don't know why it does this to you, but it just knackers you out. And then I had a problem with the wound that dehisced, and basically I didn't feel like something was right with it, and I kept tying the nurses, and they weren't paying attention. And I knew something wasn't right with the wound, but I kept tying to it. Oh no, it's fine. So in the end I ended up ringing up and going above their head, and it turns out I was right, and there was a problem, but by me going over them, they hurried them up. So while I was in hospital, and this sort of ties in with it, somebody come up to me, and he's this bloke, fucking hell, he's had everything. He's had skin cancer, he had everything, this bloke, because he was telling me all the stuff. And he says to me, he says, I'll give you one good tip. If you're coming in hospital a lot, or you've got to have a lot of health, you know, a lot of care in hospital, he says you want a good life in hospital, he says you need to be the loudest person in the room. He says you don't need to be an arsehole, you don't need to treat him like shit, but he says you don't ask, you don't get. That's what it is with the NHS. And that stuck with me, and everything, and it's true. If you don't say anything, they'll gloss over you. It's not neglect, it's just they've got a lot on the plate, so you need to ask. Same with this wound. I didn't feel something was right with it, so I ended up not complaining, but having a word above people, you know, that person's station, and it got sorted. So in the end, I think I had about 1.5 months off, and in that time I was able to get up and about, and luckily the work I had, as soon as I went off ill, I had literally, I sent a group text message to all my customers explaining to them that I'm going to be in a hospital. I don't know how long I'm going to be in for. I don't know how long the recovery is, but I will get back to you, and as soon as I know, I will let you know. And what I did is I gave my phone to my mother with the contacts in, and I told her where my diary is. I said, Luke, just ring around as many people, just have a word with them. And they did, and it was sorted. Now, while I was, and bearing in mind this happened in September, so, you know, close to the season finishing, but not, you know, wrap up of the season. So that was sorted. The customers, and this is another thing that I want to say, I think if you're a good gardener and you're a good person, you know, as in if you do right by them and they like you, or they like what you do, shall I say, they don't need to like you as a person, we need to like you as a gardener. Basically, if you're a good gardener and you know, you turn up on time and you give them a wave every now and then, they'll have you back and they'll keep you. And that's what people did with me. And I had people ringing me up, my gardening customers, saying, Luke, I'm not chiding you on, I'm not, you know, asking you to come back early. I says, just, you know, if you've got a rough day, tell me. If not, just, you know, rest up and the work will be here for you. And they did, they stick to the word. I know I do a lot of moaning on this channel, but in reality, and I've said this, or even when I moan, my customer base I think is excellent. They're such a nice bunch of people. So I was able to go out and do a little bit. I wasn't able to work, but luckily my brother was able to help me out, so he did little bits and I just sat in the van. Why did I do that? Because when you're used to working for yourself and doing everything for yourself, and then suddenly you can't do anything, you know, and you're just stuck at home watching fucking Coronation Street and Tom and Jerry, it gets boring after a while. So just going out and sitting in a van, you know, breathing the fresh air was a relief. So that's the main preamble, that's the beginning of the story. Let's go through the middle and the end. Now I want to just focus this rest of this part on living with a colostomy bag. Now I don't think anybody, I think your medical thing is personal to you, but I don't think anybody should be afraid to talk about it for fear of judgment or, you know, whatever. Now I don't advertise the fact that I've got a colostomy bag. I don't think many, I think the customers who know, they know, and I think the people who don't need to know, they don't need to know. But I can pretty much say the actual colostomy bag stoma has not gotten in the way of my work one bit. I'm a big bloke and I work all day. I do 6-7 days a week, and this hopefully will help somebody who is just, you know, who's been told they're going to have one, or they've just had one, or even a family member who say is physical, you know, and they have to have one. I can't say, you know, everyone's medical history is different, but I was a big bloke back then, I'm a big bloke now, and the bag itself has not affected my quality of life in the slightest. There's not been any jobs that I've had to turn away due to the bag. There's been no situations, there's been nothing that I've been afraid to do because of it. I'm a great believer in things happen and it's up to you as a person on how you deal with it. Now for me, I made my mind up when it happened and they told me I wasn't going to let it affect me personally and affect me, my business. I was just going to get on with it, and that's what I did. Can I say the same for you guys? I don't think so. I don't want to speak for you, but for me, I was able to get on and just get stuck in and just, you know, live my life. Now maybe this is something I shouldn't have done, but I just carried on as normal, and I think I did do jobs I shouldn't have done. There was times where I didn't wear my support belt when I shouldn't have done, and I'm not blaming myself, but well, probably I am to blame. But what's happened is I ended up getting hernias. I got 2 hernias, and that is what's affected my quality of life, not my colostomy bag, not the operation, but it's these hernias but the hernias were caused by the operation. It is what it is, I keep saying that, but the actual hernia op, that should be coming up soon. But the stoma or the colostomy bag has not affected my life at all. Now, if you're wondering what a colostomy bag is, basically what they do, because they had to cut out so much of the bowel, instead of, you having a normal shit, as in you sit down, you relax, put a bit of TikTok on, what actually happens instead is you'll get what's called a colostomy bag. And basically, and I'm only talking about this, you can skip this part if you want, I'm only talking about this because it amazes me how many people don't know basically what one is. When I've said to people I've got a colostomy bag, they thought I've got like something to do with my urine. No, that works. But the colostomy bag itself basically goes onto your sides and it sticks on, and basically you cut a seal and then stick that on, and then basically when you have a shit, it just goes into the bag. It's hygienic, it's simple. The Queen Mother used to have one before she died, and it's amazing how many people have had one, or people who know somebody who's had one. So for me, it's not affected my quality of life. If anything, admittedly, if I didn't have it and I didn't go to hospital when I did, I probably would have been dead. So you could argue that it saved my life. This is what I want to pass on, because people say about, you've got it, like as if I've got a bad quality of life now with it, and I always correct them, and I always say, well, no, I've got the quality of life that I want. The only inconvenience for me is that I have to change it every day, and it takes me about 20 minutes. That's it. And it could be worse, and I keep saying this, it could always be worse. There's always some fucker, this is another thing, there's always some other bloke who's worse off than you, especially in hospital. So I have had this now for coming up for 2 years. Well, it's more than 2 years now. For me, it's one of them where it's been 2 years of ups and downs in terms of my health. As I said, the colostomy bag hasn't actually caused any health problems. It's these hernias, and what I have now is this intense cramp, because basically the hernias are pushing on, I think the consultant said, pushing on parts of my bowel, or it's pushing on things it shouldn't be pushing on, and basically that's what's causing this, just an intense pain. It's annoying, it's debilitating physically and mentally, because it's like today I should have been at an event all day. I've had to go out halfway through, and I've had to let somebody down. Now I take the arena for the event, and I've had to go, so this bloke's stuck now. He'll do it, and I'll go out my way to help him as much as I can, but I hate letting people down, especially if I give them my word. But the choice is it's that bad, I have to get home. I'm alright sitting, it's like I'm alright talking, but as soon as I stand up, the pain just comes on, and I can still feel it now, and it's still very painful. And this is another thing, I think me doing the stuff I shouldn't have done, that's what's caused him. So if it is you're ill and the doctor tells you not to do things, don't just tough it out and think you can do it. There's probably a reason they told you not to do it. So look after yourself. As I said, it's very, very, very painful, and I don't, I wouldn't wish it on people, if I'm being honest with you, because it is very painful, it's very debilitating, but we get on with it. So the colostomy bag hasn't, it hasn't affected the quality of my life. There's times where, because you've got no control of it, there's times where if you pass wind, that will come out, and I've had it before where I've been talking to a customer and you just rip a right loud one, and it's embarrassing. And the first couple of times it did it, it's embarrassing. I remember when I used to go to Slimming World, and I was in the room and I was petrified of making noises, and I just tell myself now that, well, if you do, you just front it out, or you tell them why. It's up to them if they want to, you know, see it as anything it isn't. When I say it's a colostomy bag, everything's trapped inside, smells everything. People don't know if you know, you just don't know if you, unless you know, you don't know. So, like I said, I wanted to do this video to sort of raise a bit of awareness that it isn't, you know, not a death sentence. It isn't, you know, going to affect you. I can't speak for everybody, but for me, it's not affected my gardening business. It's not affected my quality of life. Yes, the side effects as in these hernias have, and it caused a great deal of pain, but the actual thing hasn't. If it is, you're going through it, or you got to go through it, or you know a family member that's going through it, it can be very, very physically, and it can be very, very mentally debilitating to you. And I had this at the start. It took me a long time to, you know, especially to get over that shock, and it is, you know, debilitating mentally for that reason. The only thing I can say, if people need help or you want to talk to me about it, just drop me a message and I'll see what I can do to help you. But like I said, just doing this video I think explains a lot. Also, bonus material, bonus, little bit of a secret thing. If you've made it till the end, then this is a little insider. Why do I wear these green shirts? Is it because they're comfortable? Not really. They're wool, so it feels like you're wearing a Hessian sack. I normally wear a wife beater underneath it, or I think I've got my Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine t-shirt on. They aren't very comfy. Why do you wear it? Oh, do you like green? Not really, I'll be honest with you. Why do you wear them, Sam? People ask, or people comment on the shirts. It's because of the colostomy bag. I need a very long shirt to tuck in. So these shirts are an extra long extra long shirt. So if I pull this up, it looks like a fucking nightie. Normal shirts, I've not got enough to tuck in because I have to tuck in everything. And with these, because you've got so much length on them, you can tuck stuff in, but you can leave basically where your bag's got room to do what it needs to. Because if you tuck that in and you're going throughout your day, you know, you don't want it where it's restricted. Trust me on that. So this is why I wear the shirts, because if you don't, and you reach, we got a normal shirt on or a t-shirt, and you reach up, your fucking bottom of your colostomy bag's sticking out. So, you know, you may as well whap your fucking tackle out at that point. So that's why I wear them. So if you're wondering and you've made it till now you know. Engelbert Strauss do these shirts. They've got two other styles. They've got an absolutely disgusting tablecloth blue, and I think they've got a red Rupert Bear style shirt, which again looks absolutely disgusting. So this one is the better option, as sad as that sounds. So other things that's happened, I've had it before where, I'll finish the video up quickly, yeah, it's getting on a bit now. I've had it before where I have you know, popped the bag while I've been out and about. That's not fun, especially cutting thorny hedges and you see one sticking out, you pull it out. What you do, just put a bit of tape over it, not the end of the world. I've had it before where I've had the mad shits for like 2 weeks straight. No idea why, doctors don't know why. And basically I've had it before where I was at a customer's house and I don't know how it happened, but the bag come undone and I had basically the equivalent of like half a pint of like liquid shit. Felt the whole of the inside, because it's tucked in, bearing in mind, felt the whole of the shirt up. That wasn't fun. I just literally threw my tools into the van and I just went home, showered, put a new shirt on because I've got about 1 million of these, and I just went back and finished the job. The customer asked, you know, why. I said, oh, I had to go pick my prescription up. I made some up. I couldn't really tell him that I had a shirt full of shit. So things happen. As you can tell now, for me, it just happens. It's another story. It does. It's not fun at the time, but things do happen. Shit happens, shall I say. So I hope this video helps. As I said, it's not for everybody. It is a bit personal, but if it can help somebody out there, you know, getting to grips with it, then yeah. And if you want to know any more, or you want to, you know, a family member, or you know, even you've got to go through it, just drop me a message. As I say, I'll do everything I can to help people, you know, if I can. So have a good day, guys. You know, as usual, keep on gardening, all that good stuff.